This is Jonathan Buckley, public speaking teacher at Edina High School, and today's lesson is kinds of communication. And the objective for today's lesson is that students will learn the 5 basic kinds of communication and apply that to real life situations. All right, let's get started. So first of all, when we're looking at the 5 kinds of communication, there's really 2 different areas. The first area has to do with talking alone or one-to-one communication, and that involves intrapersonal and interpersonal communication. So first of all, intrapersonal communication is communication with yourself. So you could be talking out loud. Maybe you're in front of class and you're really exasperated because the class won't listen, they won't behave, and you just kind of look up and go, "Oh, this class is driving me nuts." That might be considered intrapersonal communication when you're talking to yourself. But more commonly, intrapersonal communication is the communication that you have within your mind. And that happens all the time. You have all sorts of thoughts that occur within your mind. So for example, maybe you're sitting in class going, "Boy, this is the most riveting lesson ever." Or maybe, "I can't wait for Mr. Buckley to finish this. Well, I wonder what's for lunch today. Can't wait for that game after school." Or, "This weekend, I know I'm going to be doing a lot of fun stuff." All sorts of things go through your mind. In fact, there was a movie made a number of years ago called What Women Want with Mel Gibson. And in the movie, Mel Gibson was able to actually read what women were thinking. He was able to read their intrapersonal communication, and as a result, there were many humorous and uncomfortable instances that took place within the film. And that was a good example of intrapersonal communication. The second type of communication is interpersonal communication. That's communication on a one-to-one basis. So that's when you're just having a conversation or talking with just one other person. We call that interpersonal communication. And then the other 3 kinds of communication have to involve talking with more than one person. And that's group communication, public communication, and mass communication. Now, group communication involves 3 or more people, and the group often shares the same purpose or goal, and the group often has a leader, but everyone in the group gets to participate and talks. In public communication, that involves 1 or more speakers presenting a message to a group of inactive listeners. Interestingly enough, we call that public speaking. And a public speaker often informs or persuades audiences. Now, I want to be clear that when we say inactive listeners, that doesn't mean that there is no feedback if you think back to the communication process. That group of interactive listeners still provides feedback in the form, sometimes verbally, but more often non-verbally, providing feedback to the speaker. And then we have mass communication, and that involves 1 or more people communicating with an audience, and usually the senders and receivers are not together during mass communication. So an example of mass communication might be radio or television, or now more recently social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, those sorts of things. That would be considered mass communication. So those are the 5 kinds of communication that involve talking with others.